Welcome to our chapter review on proportional relationships. So, first thing we looked at was converting fractions into decimals. So 1 over 2 is equal to a half. So as we go along with this, pause it whenever you want. Maybe it's better if you try it before I review it with you. See how much you remember, and then go back through it with me as we go. So I'm not actually going to tell you to pause, but anytime you see a blank question, give it a try, pause it, and then get going. Because then we'll do chapter review as our work today. Okay, so top divided by bottom gives me my decimal. 1 over 3, if we remember, it's 0.33333 and it goes forever. So we would just put a bar over the 3 to say that it's repeating. Okay. Okay, with our first example here, ratios. 2 to 5 is equal to 4 to blank. So the first thing I do, I find my scale factor. I have the left side of both. I have my 4 and my 2. Okay, 4 divided by 2 gives me 2. So my scale factor is 2. Whatever I do to the left-hand side, so 2 goes up to 4, so I'm multiplying by 2. So I do the same thing with 5. Okay, so 2 has a relationship with 4, 5 has a relationship with this number, so this number becomes 10. Okay, I multiplied left and right by 2. Same thing when we see 3 of them. 3 to 4 to 10 is equal to blank to 12 to blank. So try it. You can see I have the middle of both, my 4 and my 12. So 12 divided by 4 gives me my 3. That's my scale factor. My number's going up from 4 to 12. So I'm multiplying by 3. So 3 times 3 gives me 9. And 3 times 10 gives me 30. 3 to 4 to 10 is equal to 9 to 12 to 30. Okay, let's take a look at rates. So 2 kilometers to 6 kilometers, 2 kilometers in 3 hours equals 6 kilometers in how many hours? Well, I do the same thing. I find my scale factor. I have both of my kilometers, so 6 divided by 2 gives me 3. So I multiplied by 3 to go from 2 to 6. I multiply my 3. I end up with 9 hours. Sorry, I forgot to cover that one originally. So rates are the same thing as ratios, except we're dealing with things with different units instead of just numbers. Okay, if these didn't have the units, I'd write them as a ratio because that actually looks easier. Percentages. So 14% of 300 on my calculator, 14. I hit my percent button. I multiply it by 300 and I hit equals and I get 42. 30 out of 40 equals blank percent. This is slightly different. If we go all the way back up to the top, you'd remember top divided by bottom gives me a decimal. To go from a decimal to a percentage, you multiply that by 100. So 30 out of 40, think of it like a fraction. 30 on the top, 40 on the bottom. Top divided by bottom times 100. 30 divided by 40 times 100 will give me 75%. Okay, the more tricky one, 45% of blank gives me 450. Just remember, you always have to start with your number, not your percentage, when you reverse calculate. So 450 divided by 45% equals, we got 1,000. Okay, so there are 3 types that you'll find. So let's get into a word problem. You might want to pause it and give it a try. If I 12 Smarties and that's 30% of them. How many were there? So I can write it out as a percentage problem. It looks like a rate thing. Smarties on the left, percentage on the right. So just remember, you have your 3 pieces of information. I've got my 12. I've got my 30%. That's actually 2 pieces of information because 30% is 30 over 100. So I have 1 missing blank. I can do it 2 ways. I can divide 30 by 12, and that gives me a scale factor of 2.5. I could also do this way. 100 divided by 30 gives me 3.33 as my scale factor, and do the same thing this way. Okay, so if I did it this way, I'm dividing by 2.5 because I'm getting smaller. 30 to 12, I divide by 2.5. 100 divided by 2.5 will give me 40. The other way to do this is set it up like one of these reverse calculation ones. 30% of I don't know how many Smarties I had is 12. So 12 divided by 30% gives me my 40. I actually think that's a cleaner way of doing it. I really kind of like this way. It's just getting your head around all of these word problems can be put into an algorithm that looks just like this. It's one of these 3. And where the blank is, maybe the blank's here, maybe the blank's there, maybe the blank's there, but it's always an algorithm that looks like that. I find these a little bit more confusing, but that's me. You might prefer it visually this way. I prefer it visually just as an algorithm. Okay, good luck with this today.